Oh, hello friends, and welcome here to the Daily Quest, episode number 22. Now, you'll notice the title, it says Educast. Educast. What does that mean? It means we're going to cast replays and educate. Now, these replays aren't necessarily pro replays from tournaments like we've done in the last two episodes. They're community-submitted replays, and we have two that range from different MMRs, and we're going to take a look at them and break them down. Now, before we get into our first replay, I want to take a moment to really just give a shout out and a thank you to Rusty is his tag, Michael's his real name, for the way he submitted this. Now, I didn't really set any standards as to how replay should be submitted whatsoever, because I didn't really think it through fully. I was just, you know what, just send me replays and I'll look through all of them. But he went out of the way to tell me the composition. He went out of the way to tell me the way the draft went in Hero League. And he even told me his average MMR and hot slogs. And like having all that info just makes it so much more compelling to me. It's just like, whoa, well, I know what I'm getting into. I can look at this. And I looked at the replay and it's like, immediately I see that it's like Tyrande and Nova on the same team. I just did 2 episodes on them, and this replay actually features 2 Twitch celebrities, if you can call them that. I would call them that. So I was really stoked when I saw this in my email. Now, let's actually just take a look at the draft. Due to the fact that he was provided me the draft here in the email, I just replicated it here using heroesdraft.com, and we can see what we're here to expect. So it's Battlefield of Eternity. We see Nova, Tyrande, Jaina, Johanna, almost a full base squad, and then you put the slug in there, Abathur. All right, we can do with that. We can work with that. It's an interesting composition. No real front line. A lot of burst with Jaina, Tyrande, Nova. Johanna, the lone front line. We'll see how that works out. The opponents, we call them the challengers. They've got a bit more of a front line, just 2. But, I mean, Uther, he's got that stun, the Hammer of Justice. Thrall, he's got the Wolf. Send that out, and then Anubarak, of course, has the double stun available. And then their back line is a little bit more mobile. So they've got Falstad, he can just dash out. Vala can just vault away. So 2 pretty different styles. A little bit more stun and control and more evasion. And then way more burst on the side of Rusty and the boys, which features Munefares and Chew 8. So that's a stacked team. Now, in his email, he said his average MMR is 3,500. That's actually pretty good. So I'm pretty pumped about this, and also pumped about the fact that Johanna, I got level 9 just a moment ago. I had to play a single bot game. Now I'm at 88,000 gold, officially rich, and bam, a full page of level 9s. Esports. All right, well, let's get things ready. Now, like I said in the previous episodes, the Daily Quest is going to take on many forms, and Educast is going to be something that happens once a week. I'm just going to keep calling it Educast. It'll probably be every Friday. I think it's a great name, and we're essentially, I'm going to commentate the game as I normally would for the average tournament that I do. The difference being is whenever I see something really interesting, I'm just going to pause the replay and give you guys, you know, a bit of a rundown as to like what could have been done a little bit better, and compliments as to like this is a great example of how you should respond in this situation. And that is pretty much the core goal for this entire episode. Kat, come say hi. Oh God, she is so heavy. It's ahead of the stream. Oh, I think she fired a little bit. That's okay. And video games. All right, so on the blue side, we're calling this Rusty and the boys. Chew 8, gonna be playing Jaina. Juggernaut on Tyrande, Rusty. He's playing Johanna. We got Mune on the slug himself, and then Manny on Nova. Just some brief production right here. Boom, boom, boom. Excellent. Their opponents on the red team, the challengers. Gragas gonna be playing as Anubarak. Evil Pajamas on Uther. Deadly Juice, Deadly Ice, not Juice. Thrall, we're gonna call him Deadly Juice. Counter there, playing as Falstad and then Jaina. Insider, it's like those spider, isn't it like an apparel gear, S-P-Y-D-E-R? I think they make like snowboarding gear. That's all I think of when I read Y-D-E-R. Nova, scouting out 3 members, slips by at the last moment they notice him. The wolf does not connect, okay. Nova's gonna be a-okay. Tyrande giggling profoundly, profusely. Profoundly is not the right word. We've got some locust mines being put down by Mune. He's trying to get vision on where they might be lurking here in the top lane. And he'll just spot them as they all rotate up. Now he's just going to aim to soak Nova, rotating herself. Manny just going to watch from the shadows to see if anyone steps out of line so she can do some damage. Now the chance of Nova getting a kill in this situation is very unlikely, not really going to happen. Looking at the talents, it is, again, emphasis on that burst. Ambush snipe, Ranger's mark. So like we said, this is very much a burst team, and then deep chill for Jaina just to get the team a little bit more control. Oh, looks like Chew and Manny, they did find Deadly Juice, and Deadly Juice gets blown up here, also known as Deadly Ice, but he's Deadly Juice for today. So the first kill of the game, just finding Thrall out of position. Now this is all from the use of Nova scouting and those Abathur mines scouting, but Manny is being very bold in these situations. A lot of damage being thrown out, but there's that mobility we talked about available. Nice Lunar Flare, buying them time for Chew to get those heals up and try to dash into battle, but needs to be careful. He did already use his dash. Volstad likely going to end up falling here. Nice Hammer of Justice. Counter, dashes over the wall, juking them, but Nova does find the kill. Chew now a little bit too overextended, but the Lunar Flare to peel, but it looks like Chew will be collapsed upon by Anubarak, ends up falling himself. Currently 2-1 in terms of kills. Evil Pajamas able to back away, but this Thrall is taking way too much. He has to run for his life. Wind Fury enough to peel, but now Uther is spent in return. A slobber knocker of a game so far. Fallside flying into battle Juggernaut. Gonna be the one that falls here this time, and the trades continue. Now the Immortals have spawned during all this chaos, and neither team has really started on them. It looks like they want to just go for the safe play. They're just gonna start with the soak. Johanna deep in enemy lines, gonna be caught out here. Fallside starting with the damage. They're all gonna follow up. Iron Skin, is it available? Yes, there it goes, but the mine would have been enough to kill. They don't even need those mines. 2 of them still remaining as they step on them. That was actually a friendly mine. Chaos. All right. Evil Pajamas, waiting, watching, seeing what's happening. Insider, that burst from Nova starting to shine through. Nova went gathering power, so she's going to be really scary. And we see Thrall running in the backside, picking Nova off. So gathering power stacks have been removed. Abathur staying in this top lane. Actually, a multi-shot didn't even connect. Shot up there to scout for Abathur. And Mune realizes that Vala scouted with multi-shot didn't connect, therefore he doesn't have to leave. So Abathur getting some great soak. The team is actually calling for him to go to the bottom lane, but he's still soaking the top lane, and he can soak with his hat down here if he so pleases. Over at the Immortals right now, we do see both teams just looking to poke as safely as possible over their opponent's Immortal. Looks like red team wants to get the poke on, blue team is defending. And red team's Immortal hasn't sustained any damage at all. Nice vault there from inside of the Spider. Vala slipping away, and Falset just pokes his head in and does a little bit more damage. This is perfectly executed by our red team, the challengers. Blue team is just on the defensive, and they don't really have a choice. If they try to split, if they try to go for the enemy team's damage, start to focus on this bottom Immortal, then they're going to lose the race so quickly. They might do a fifth or 10% of its health at most. Counter should be able to escape. The halftime show has begun. Dashing over the wall, Lunar Flare connecting from afar, and Chew in the front lane. Hunter's Mark goes down. Falstad is definitely going to fall. There he goes. Up in the top, we see that Mune is being chased by Thrall, but he gets back behind his wall and immediately throws down that symbiote, trying to make a difference here in the middle of the map. We see 2 members have fallen on the red team. The blue team, even though they're way down in the Immortal count, they do have Hunter's Mark from Tyrande. So when it comes to the race of this Immortal, you can see how quickly they can burn through it. It's falling just from 3 members rather quickly, but on the opposite side, they were much further ahead working on this Immortal, and Gragas alone is chipping it away with himself and the Beatles. With Insider arriving on Vala, it's going to really even out, especially with Deadly Eyes, but Abathur ends up falling here in the top. Nicely done by Counter on Falstad. But again, looking at the Immortals, it ended up being a lot closer than it started out, with the blue team catching up a lot in terms of health, but that will be about a 10% shielded Immortal spawning, marching down that top lane, which will need definitely a big defense here on the blue side. Looking in the bottom, we do see it's going to be a split push. You want to make sure you throw members in both lanes to maximize the experience as often as possible, and even split push. Oh, the burrow charge just over the wall. Way too aggressive by Gragas, and he is going to die very quickly. Mune even just laughing like, really, bro? You just tried to pull that off? a little bit too risky. I think he was trying to time it so he would stun over the wall but not go through the wall, which is possible, but did not pay off for him there. So their split push will be mostly thwarted. Yes, the soak will be there, but oh, if Chu ends up falling, it could be lights out. Nice support there from not only the Abathur, but the Blizzard placement was beautiful. Frostbolt from afar, Insider barely slipping away. Very close to 2 deaths there, but neither of them go down on either side. But the Immortals' damage has been more than enough here in the top, as the top 4 did end up falling, and the experience is about a level ahead here for our red team. Getting an update on the talents. Nothing super out of the ordinary that I noticed here. The full default Tirana build we talked about. This is the normal Nova build that we also talked about in the daily quest the other day. Abathur is putting a bit of an emphasis on the mines, and let's talk about this. So this battleground, there's only 2 true lanes, and then there's a pseudo lane through the center of the map. So we've got this wall, which originally they said this in a interview or something, that originally this map did have 3 lanes, and they decided to leave this gate here because they liked the idea. But we have this big massive center pit where the Immortals do battle, and Abathur, Munefares, spreads his mines all over the place, these toxic nests. Now when you spec into the toxic nest, you get the reduced cooldown, 2 additional charges, and Vile Nest, 50% movement speed reduction for 4 seconds. This is not only phenomenal for denying enemy team rotations, it gives you vision, and in the event that one of the enemies step on this, say that Falstad is walking over and he steps on a mine, and Nova happens to be like right here or right here, Nova has 4 seconds where that target is really slow to rotate over and pick him off very easily, honestly. So it's a really cool style where we're going to see that huge power of the Lunar Flurry coming out, the increased range to eliminate those targets that are slowed. Nova follow-up, Jaina follow-up. And it's just a really intelligent strategy specifically for this battleground. All right, resuming the action in the top, we do see that Evil Pajamas is going to secure this camp. Chu taking a ton of damage, but the Condemn of Rusty just barely saving Chu in this situation. Very, very nicely done. Thrall is actually chasing, and this is super risky for Thrall. Even though Chu might look super vulnerable. Oh, he gets him the Chain Lightning. Chu actually could have mounted up a little bit sooner to get away from that, and he was successful in getting the kill, and actually we saw that Nova fell as well, so that's gathering power stacks once again being erased. Chu fell on Jaina. That's 2 down for nothing. Top 4 has already fallen, and red team is going to have a 2-level lead in this situation. Looking at those level 10 heroics they're about to pick up, this is Sundering. We see that we pick up Locust Swarm. It's going to be Strafe with Divine Shield, and Volstad likely will go for... Ooh, I was thinking Mighty Gust for huge disengages, but no, he's going for Entrance Blast. They want the damage. And oh, a beautiful root. Lunar Flare follow-up. Falstad flying in. We see Juggernaut, and Tyrande is rather low. Counter does have to back away. Hinterland's Blast going out and clips her. I need to watch that again because I missed the action. Was it him or was it Vala that got the kill? Regardless, the fact that this was just an excellently executed fight. They get the kill. He realizes the scenario, dashes over the wall, and then he comes down here, lines it up, and does barely clip Tyrande with Entrance Blast. Nearly max range with it. 2 kills for nothing. Bottom 4 is in a tough spot. And they're going to look to pick it off. Now Nova even gets caught by the Wolf of Thrall. Divine Shield used in safety. And there's a bit of miscommunication there. Now, this is something that's really hard to do in Hero League when you don't have voice communication. If you see your Thrall getting low and you throw a Divine Shield, but he's already on his way back out, the Heroic is kind of wasted. Because that's a situation where Thrall could have got out 2 to 3 more attacks and probably killed Nova. Like, if we just rewatch it again, if he had just stayed aggressive, let's actually look at his cooldowns and everything here. So we're going to go Thrall Vision entirely. I don't know why Thrall Vision is claiming here. No, that is not correct. Thrall Vision, activate. Hello? Well, the client doesn't seem to be working with that, and we missed it entirely. GG client. It's supposed to be able to follow individual heroes. We'll just do it manually. So here we are watching Thrall on everyone Vision. He's going to go towards Nova the moment he sees that shimmer. He gets the wolf connected. And bam. Well, Divine Shield was used. He didn't really have any cooldowns left, so I guess he did make the right call in the end of backing away without any more abilities. Nova would have been a little bit hard to kill, and it's also broken my ability to use my mouse. So we're back to what we had happen yesterday. I'm not sure what key it is that breaks the Observer client, but we will solve this mystery eventually, ladies and gentlemen. Well, back to the action right now. there's not a whole lot the blue team can do. They're in a scenario where they don't have their level 10 heroics, and without their heroics, it's really hard to contest the immortal. So they just want to soak for another moment or two, wait for Nova to get back into battle, and then go for this fight. Johanna even calling out so there's no way that they can contest this. They're just doing as much damage as they can safely, standing on the left side towards their base in the safest posture possible, chipping away at this immortal. They have done wonderfully for themselves. A lot of that is due to the fact that Hunter's Mark, 25% additional damage received, helps him keep up with the pressure on the immortals, even when they're not using the same amount of people in these fights. But the soak very much in favor of the red team, nearing that 2-level advantage. Counter managing to get out of the condemn at the last moment, and they're making the call to fight. They force them back, and this is their first time they've actually had any control over the center of the map in quite a while. Thrall a bit all alone, the nice wolf, but Blessed Shield to send out no follow-up. Now, let's pause for a moment. Rusty saw a situation where he's like, these are their 2 assassins and they're all alone. And he just immediately made the decision, kill them, right? That's what he wants to do. And in a lot of ways, this is correct because they are secluded from their team. But at the same time, his team is nowhere near him. So throwing this Blessed Shield out, it's a follow-up that's just about never going to be successful. Even with just Nova there, let's watch this happen again. So generally speaking, it's just Nova down here on the left side, Johanna's up here, and then we see Tyrande here. Nova's making the way up. Blessed Shield's going to go out, and then Nova's going to throw her clone up there, I believe. No, that's the real one. But again, it's pretty much completely thwarted. They were looking for a nice pick off or two. Uther was able to rotate up, and Blessed Shield effectively really didn't do much. Now they don't have that for Peel, so Thrall comes in, blows up Jaina very quickly. A beautiful Divine Shield here by the Uther. They take out the Abathur clone. In all things considered, it ends up being an unfavorable trade for the blue team. They're finally looking like they might be able to regain some composure. Deadly Juice stepping on mines, getting hit by everything, but the Uther heals are just too much. And he's going to be able to stay alive for the time being. And Gragas has been working on this Immortal. Blue team's Immortal getting very low. Lunar Flare does connect. Oh, the stun from the Immortal could have been disastrous there. And Abathur is picked off by Falstad in the top lane. But Nova is in hot pursuit, looking to get the pop off. No, not going to be able to knock him out in this situation. It's just a really tough spot here for our blue team. They're about to be down another talent tier advantage, 13-11. Very soon, Burrow Charge misses completely. But you know what? The Burrow Charge had its effect. It just wanted to make sure the team was successful and safely destroying the rest of this Immortal's health pool, and it was good in doing so. All right, oh, the mouse, stop. All right, I was thinking maybe I can change a setting, and maybe that'll fix the mouse. Maybe if I Alt-Tab, that'll fix the mouse. Nope. The bug is a mystery. We just saw a Hearth barely make it out. I can't click the mini-map, but I can drag up here to the top lane. Ooh, and we see Falstad getting rained down. Now a beautiful double Jaina Blizzard. It was just absolutely beautiful on that Falstad, taking him out. That's the kind of play they need to make. They're here on the defense. They're defending against an Immortal. Now Abathur is far safer to soak in the top lane now that Falstad has been destroyed. He's been hunting Abathur all game long, it seems, and they can throw everyone else down into the bottom to try to blow up this Immortal without losing their keep. Keep is taking a ton of damage. Immortal still has more than his full health pool. I don't think they're going to be able to defend it, but they can still do a good defense and try to turn things around after this. It's obviously not GG when the keep falls, but it's not the best scenario in the world. Now, they've done a great job keeping the team forced back, but the keep ultimately does end up falling. Falstad has respawned. We see that Abathur has made his way down here to get some Locusts there to try to help out with this push. And the team just needs to kind of regain their composure on the map. They're going to start off by just taking this Bruiser camp on the left side. And this is the right call. Red team is doing exactly what they should be doing as well. They're just roaming around. They're collecting mercenary camps. They just grabbed the siege camp in the bottom. They're going to their Bruiser camp on the right side of the map. And we're going to see this Bruiser camp on the left side complete in just a moment. Now, Nova is scouting up here. Don't think she actually got eyes on Falstad. Falstad is, once again, Abathur hunting. He's been doing this throughout the game. Now, they just punished him once, and he realizes how much of a bad spot he might be in, so he's making the smart play. He's not wasting fly. He's just hearthing back to base. He knows he's too deep to go out and wander through the lane, not having eyes on the complete enemy team. Definitely the right call in this situation. Deadly Juice steps on an Abathur mine. He's going to be A-okay. Lunar Flare from afar, not connecting. Burrow Charge trying to peel here for our Thrall player, and Uther is within range, but Nova actually was the one that got picked off here. Mune on the Abathur clone, gonna end up falling. Falset is on a rampage. He actually just picks off Jaina on top of it. We see the Water Elemental was spent. Frosty the Snowman marching down, and they're continuing their pressure. Now Burrow Charge completely whiffed, but a beautiful Hammer of Justice just helping keep them at their base, back away from any of the lanes. So not only is the blue team not getting any soak right now, their lanes being pushed out here on the top by this Fallen Shaman camp, which they will have to respond to very soon. These bottom lanes are being cleared out, making room for these catapults that will continue to march for the duration of the game, and now the Immortals have spawned in the center of the map. I mean, red team really just has every single advantage in the world. 3-level lead, talent tier advantage, lane advantage. Bottom lane will be pushed by catapults. Top lane is already pushed to their wall, and they had a hero advantage until moments ago, where they're now working on this 3rd or 4th Immortal this game. All right, Evil Pajamas a bit out of position, took a ton of damage there. We see the Abathur clone has spawned. Now Jaina, always the best target for the clone, and going straight for Evil Pajamas. He would have to Divine Shield if he wants to live. Doesn't even use it, but he does have that Ghost form. Trying to keep Deadly Juice alive. Not going to be successful. Mune on a rampage with the Abathur clone, and our blue team suddenly picks up 2 huge kills. Absolutely crucial. Here, they find this Anubarak out of position. Lunar Flare does not connect, but with Hunter's Mark, he's taking a lot of damage regardless. Down here on the right side, they picked up another kill. This time, it's Vala that goes down, and we're going to see the Faucet end up falling as well. Hindering spots just barely canceled at the last possible moment. The rest of the team now can go work on the enemy team's Immortal, and for the first time, will be in an advantageous spot in Abathur, getting this soak, keeping these catapults at bay, soaking the experience. They went from being almost 3 levels down to nearly evening out the experience in this game. That is the power of one incredibly decisive team fight, and then soaking of a massive lane of minions. Now Mune is doing this exactly right. He's backing away so he doesn't take all that damage from the catapults. You would die surprisingly quickly if you stayed and soaked the damage from that wave of minions, but he's making sure he's staying within distance to maximize that experience gain for the team. And there it is. Level 16 has been reached. They got themselves their first Immortal this game. They have done almost no structural damage all game long, but they're going to look to change that right now. The comeback is within sights. Now, in terms of kills, it's actually very even, 14 to 12. But in terms of forts, we're looking at 4 forts remaining to the 1 remaining on the side of our blue team. And that is quite a disparity, which is why they were so far behind. But these late game underdog advantage kills have done so much for them to get back. Anubarak way too aggressive with that Burrow Charge, but the Divine Shield saves him. Uther will be the one that's expended, and now Anub is still very low. Nova going into the backline, looking for that snipe, will be able to get there. Oh no, Burrow Charge getting him away, but Thrall ends up falling. Anubarak dies as well. Vala, the last one remaining in this team, except for the Falstad, who is way down here already. And they're looking to have this party bush. Blizzard does catch Spider over the wall, Insider the Spider, and they're going to successfully take out this top fort. The first structure to fall on the side of the red team all game long, but for the first time as well, we're seeing an experience advantage on the blue team. Now they're looking here. They could go for this Merc Camp. Another 20 seconds or so before the enemy team is back to full power. More than safe to do this. You always want to take the offensive mercenary camps to deny them any kind of recapturing of the presence on the map. Map control is such a crucial part of Heroes of the Storm, and denying map control by skilling the enemy team's mercenary camps is one of the best ways to do it. All right, some safe wall pressure. Remember, it's 1,300 experience, more than destroying a fort if you take out both towers, and they do just that. So this is putting them in a great spot for the extreme late game as we approach level 20 rather rapidly. The team is now just leaving Abathur to continue to soak across the map. Actually, no, he burrows up here to throw some Locust Nest down, applying a bit of pressure, but he does need to be a bit wary. Now, they actually back up from this siege camp as they saw the entire enemy team coming up here. And they don't have all 5 up here, the right call to make. Even if you've destroyed a single mercenary, it's not worth sticking around for a potential team wipe. Imagine if they captured this mercenary camp, but then they lost 3 players. The game would end. The enemy team would just march across the map, go to your core, which is already exposed because the keep is down, and you would lose the game. So don't be too greedy when it comes to Merc camps. Just give it up. They're not that valuable. They're not worth losing a keep, or in this case, losing the game. Ooh, Burrow Charge connecting on the clone. Lunar Flare on 2 targets. Jaina and Rusty, they're up here in the top side, but they opt not to rotate down. They're just not feeling confident. They don't have eyes on the enemy team. Falstad just hearth back to base. He should be able to fly back into battle in a moment, and then they'll be at full power. There's Falstad's fly point. They're looking to put the pressure on this blue Immortal, but the defense will be here and strong. So we just want to watch for that Abathur clone. That means they're here to fight. Jaina's up there. Mune now has cloned the Abathur. Double Jaina in the front line. Beautiful ice block by Chu, dodging the Influence Blast, and they get the kill on a new Barak. Now we have the double Jaina and the Water Ellie. Slows for days. Abathur, or excuse me, the Nova clone, not quite enough for the kill. That's the clone Abathur down to the bottom, which will end up falling, applying a lot of pressure. But even just the single kill and nearly 2 more, it's more than enough for them to just back up and safely start working on the enemy team's Immortal. On top of that, they have nearly that 2-level advantage with 20 on the horizon. And so far they've been playing this out just about perfectly for the late game. They realized they were way behind, but they found their one moment. They took well advantage of it. I mean, look at the enemy team's talents. Let's just look at the talents in general in this game. The enemy team opted to go for triple spell shield, and this is really smart considering Lunar Flare, Nova, and Jaina in general, and they're doing the double Jaina with the Abathur. So triple spell shield is really quite smart here, but it's still a nice win for your team because they're spending so much to try to negate all of this burst. The Falstad build is also rather interesting. It's a full-on like boomerang auto attack build, and with seasoned marksman and then the having lifesteal, it's good. But is Falstad really all that scary outside of maybe a big Influence Blast? He doesn't have that same kind of spell damage as the enemy team does. So you don't see a single spell power or a spell shield on the enemy on the blue side. So quite interesting stuff. We're seeing the double clones and lethal decoy on Nova. And Johanna went for imposing presence. Again, they've got multiple auto attack heroes. Falstad, he's an auto attack style. Vala, she's going Hungering Arrow build, but she still has strong auto attacks. And Thrall is all about the auto attacks, even though it's a Chain Lightning build. Let me tell you how hard it is to observe a game when you can't actually click the minimap. I wish this bug would never come back, but it probably will plague me for many days until we figure out exactly what causes it. But that's okay. Now the halftime show commenced, this time in favor of the red team. They are a little bit ahead, even though that there was a team fight won by the blue team. And that's why you see them, just posture defensively. They know that even though they have a lead, it's too risky. They could lose the game in this situation. Beautiful precision strike there from Nova. Rusty in the front line doing what he can. The strafe was interrupted, and the Sundering connects on 3 to 4 targets, but they don't necessarily have a follow-up. It pushed them up into a corner where they weren't ready to commit to a fight. So as good as it was, it's a bit of a lost opportunity here for the red team. And now we've seen the blue team spread out. They lost their Abathur clone. Nova connected upon by the Burrow Charge. Manny will get hit by the Influence Blast, but the Blizzard from Chue is doing so much damage. Everyone is very low. Only one hero is down. 2 now trading a 2 for 1 in favor of the red team, but the Falstad will even that 2 for 2, and now Divine Shield uses the last possible moment. Tyrande with Shadowstalk. They don't necessarily want to kill Uther, even as low as he is. They're gonna get the kill, but now it's Tyrande that's all alone. She needs the self-heal. Shoot back an owl. No, oh, wow. Vala actually opts to back away. Could have been a safe kill, but it could be looked at as overextending. When there is a nice, clean Immortal, they could look to clean up. And on top of this bottom lane with catapults that keep that fell oh so long ago is already on the core and working on the shields. They're forced to respond, and even with the level disadvantage, the red team was able to come out on top in that fight. Just beautiful heals from the Uther, a great Divine Shield, and they're successful in picking up an Immortal here in the extreme late game. Now this Immortal will have half shields. That is way, 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 way too powerful. And it's going to come down the top lane. The Immortal will always push down the most vulnerable lane. Considering the bottom keep is down, it's not going to go there. It's going to go... Did I say vulnerable? I meant to say the most fortified lane. Because this is the... the structures are still standing. So this has to be a full 5-man defense. But at the same time, there will be catapults in the enemy lane, and this Immortal will likely be escorted by the red team. Even without level 20, having a powerful Immortal like 20 minutes into the game is not a small feat to defend. and it's going to get through this wall easily. The keep it could get as well, but the red team is a little bit slow with their approach. I think they were a little bit nervous of a potential ambush, or they just wanted to wait for everyone to be at full power before they approach this attack here, and they kind of squandered a lot of the Immortals' health. So I actually just want to rewind this and check the status of everyone's health bars to really figure out exactly why they were taking their sweet time in coming to help their Immortal. Okay, no, they're just waiting for Uther. Uther's a little bit behind, and as soon as he's ready for the team, they're all making their way down. They didn't want to go without their support, which is the right call. But like we said, the Immortals' health pool has been largely squandered as a result. The wall will fall, but the keep is likely going to be pretty safe here. Now, getting this next tower should get them level 20. Yep, there it is. But the Immortal will die just about immediately after, and now they're on even footing. Only Heroics used here, Shadow Stalk, and then the clone. We just saw Locust Swarm pop. Divine Shield has to be used. Blessed Shield connecting onto Evil Pajamas, and they're looking for that full-on approach. We saw a beautiful Sundering go down, followed by the Hinterland's Blast with the Condemn, and a nice kill there onto Uther, but he still has his Ghost form, and Redemption will allow him to respawn. Beautiful Burrow Charge, getting a Nubarak out of there. Johanna stepping away, tapping the well, and looking to go back into battle with the Abathur hat. She is a massive force in this fight. So looking for that Condemn, looking for any kind of cleaning up of this enemy team. The Condemn connects on Falstad alone. Nova in the backside doing a fair amount of damage, but it's split up between 3 targets and not enough for a kill. Burrow Charge just on Johanna. Uther does end up falling to Nova. Gragas is very well pulled in. Lunar Flare not even needed there as we see the Smite come out and get the kill, and now Deadly Ice is going to be the last one to fall as he barely trades out. Nova ends up falling. Wow, what a crazy team fight. It looks like the blue team going to try to clean up Falstad at the very end. No, Cone of Cold does end up missing, so he's going to walk away. All things considered, that was a situation where, oh, they want to stay. That was a situation where they had a big advantage with the Immortal. They didn't push with it as effectively as they might have been able to. If they just poked a little bit, even not without fully committing to protecting the Immortal, just stand behind it, wait for Uther, be slightly more aggressive. The enemy team might not even notice that Uther is not there, and they might have been able to do a little bit more in this situation, but the blue team responded appropriately. They put all of their focus on playing as safe as they could while still burning through the Immortal. All of their abilities were used in defense of just eliminating that Immortal as quickly as possible. And since it was such a drawn-out fight, the next Immortals are already back up and ready for action. And this could be the final fight. Now, the other thing to consider is it's level 22 to 20. So there is a statistic advantage for the blue team, which is a nice favor. And Abathur has been getting his push on. Both teams are down a keep. Things are about as even as it gets when it comes to structures, when you don't consider that that bottom 4 is still standing, but they don't need to touch that bottom lane. They just need to win a team fight and push down the top lane. Precision Strike gonna hit Uther, but Divine Shield gonna keep him alive. Insider pulled in after the vault, so he has no way to get out of there. Uther will end up falling as well, and Redemption is not ready yet, and that is 2 members down with a Nubarak way over the line. Chu predicts his location and follows with a Bolt of the Storm Blizzard, and that will be a kill. Nova getting hit by the Immortal. That's 4 members down, and that is GG. Falstad cannot defend a 1v5. They can go down this already exposed top lane. Munefares teleports there with his Burrow, and this will be the end of the game. There's no reason to stay and fight the Immortals. Just end the game with this huge advantage and burn through the core. And blue team made one hell of a comeback with some nice clean play. Now, things to point out. I can't hover talents, but we can still talk about it. Tyrande went for the upgrade on Shadowstalk at level 40. This allowed for some very aggressive rotations for their very burst style play. Nova, Tyrande, Jaina, you make that call to go in hard, or the clone on Abathur as well, and suddenly you have this 40% movement speed Jaina that's slowing you by 30% and moving 40% more quickly. You can't do anything. She can just juke and blow you up in every manner possible. It's an incredibly powerful aspect to this team fight. Indestructible and Johanna gives her that additional survivability that she desperately needs in the late game. We're talking about a team that has more lockdown, so Johanna is taking the brunt of that as often as possible with great peel. The Condemns, the Blessed Shields, I mean, it was on point 90% of the time. And then on the red team, they just went for the standard picks. They wanted this emphasis for auto attacks to Nexus Frenzy. We see Redemption. We see both of the Swarm picked up for Thrall. But Johanna already had imposing presence. So in the event they were ever attacking Johanna, that Nexus Frenzy and all this auto attack style was negated so effectively in those situations. Now, in the event they're fighting anyone else, sure, that's working out marvelously. But Johanna was in the face of them so often, denying their true damage. And that is just what warriors need to be doing. Okay, that was our first Educast. It felt like a pretty normal cast because there wasn't a whole lot of critiquing to do in a lot of situations. Overall, it was just a clean, well-played game of Hero League. And it also makes it really difficult to break down a lot of stuff when I can't actually use my mouse as I bug something out. So we're going to avoid doing anything odd. If I look back at the game, you can see it's freaking out. Yes, I did it. There's a bunch of different hotkeys in the Observer client that allow you to change the viewpoint of who you're watching. You could look at everyone's vision. You can look at a specific hero's vision, which would end up being that whole team's vision as they share vision. But still, you can then follow the perspective of that specific hero if you so please. And when I attempted to do that, for some reason, it just pretty much deleted my mouse from heroes. Like I have no mouse right now, so I have to Alt F4. Interesting stuff. But we're going to get the second replay loaded up in just a moment. And we'll take a look at that. Now, the second replay was submitted by one of our Twitch regulars, a member of the solidjakegg Nerd Herd, Peck the Mage. Peck the Mage is actually doing some pretty cool stuff for us. We'll have to show you pretty soon. And I'm just going to make that an announcement of an announcement, I guess. But with that being said, let's take a look at the roster. Now, I don't have a graphic for this one built, but I'm going to load up the replay and we'll hop on into it. It's on Garden of Terror, and we have it loading up here. It looks like it's going to be, oh, there we go. Tassadar, Vala, Tyrael, ETC, Illidan. So this is Tassadar lone support with a big front line, ETC, Illidan, Tyrael. Their opponents on the red side, Kharazim, Vala, Zagara, Nazeebo, Muradin. So this is a team that has a lot of control. So a very divey team versus a team that has Zombie Walls, Storm Bolt, and then Maw once we get to level 10 with the potential of Rain of Vengeance if you want to do that. Now, Rain of Vengeance and Maw can synergize very well together, but Rain of Vengeance doesn't have the same kind of impact with just spread out damage as Strafe. So it's kind of hard to justify picking it up in a lot of situations if you're not sure that you're going to get the full effectiveness out of something like Rain of Vengeance. Looking at the talents in this game, ETC, he's going for rolling like a stone, so he wants to put the emphasis on his power slide. A lot of stuns here for ETC. Just Conjurer's Pursuit for Tassadar. Garden of Terror tends to be slightly longer duration of a map, which means more opportunities to pick up globes throughout the game. And in turn, that's just a lot of mana retention there for the Tassadar player. Multi-shot style here for Vala, very good for just cleaning up waves. And when you consider that you have these Shambler camps that spawn to collect seeds, it's really nice to have the additional AoE damage for pushing out your wave quickly and then rotating up and collecting seeds from the Shambler camps. And a multi-shot build is the most effective for Vala in this scenario. It's pretty standard for Illidan to go for Shadow Shield. On the opponent's side, Transcendence, full healing style here for Kharazim should be expected. This Vala is going Rancor, so double Vala confirms this is quick match, and this confirms that this is an auto attack style Vala, in theory, right? We'll see how he ends up building it out. Reconstitution picked up here, just extra life sustain for the Zagara, who was a little bit too far forward, ends up dying very early in this game, and then Death Ritual and Block. Now, this follow is being a little bit too aggressive. Let's just rewind this moment. This is early game, and in Heroes of the Storm, something has changed very, very recently. They've done what we call the scaling change, and a lot of just stats in the game have changed, so your health pool isn't quite as big compared to the damage done in before. So it's easier to kill someone, therefore it's easier to die. Assassins in turn become more valuable and more of like a playmaker type hero, which I think is a vastly more enjoyable game. But at the same time, they also increased the duration, the length of death timers in the early game. So dying early game is that much more impactful in Heroes of the Storm. And in the past, you could die at level 1 and just be like, whatever, I give them like no experience. And while that might still seem relatively true, you're down for an additional 6 to 7 seconds, which means it's going to be a lot harder to soak that lane of minions. And if you miss one wave of minions, that adds up very quickly. So what Shees is trying to do is he's trying to get some nice creep spread on Zagara. And he's got the 2 tumors right here. He's got the 1 back in base. And this is going to give him the additional health regen. And he's even got the bonus health regen at the level 1 talent reconstitution. And it's also going to give him movement speed. But when you're fighting in a lane 2v1, Zagara is arguably the best solo laner next to maybe Chen in the current meta, just because he can just sit there and drink brew and take no damage forever and then just throw brew at them and spit fire, and it's ridiculous how good he is at laning. Zagara 2v1, it's still kind of a dicey situation. So you want to play relatively passively. Try to stay on your creep if you're low at health. Try to get that extra health regen going. And then just poke with roaches and banelings as often as you can. You don't want to burn your mana pool immediately, but you also don't want to be way too aggressive. You can be standing further back here to soak these minions. So we're going to resume this game to just take a look at it. We see how much damage he took from the multi-shot alone. The vault goes forward, and he turns around to try to throw a Hydra out. Now, what I suspect was happening there, and this is a very common mistake, is he wanted to click the Hydra onto Vala, but Vala entered this brush. So when he went to click Vala with the Hydralisk, he actually ended up stepping forward an inch. And in those situations, like, the Hydralisk isn't going to get a kill. There's 2 of them, and one of them's a support. Just run. Just leave. Go home. So a nice kill though here for the blue team, picking up that early kill. Zagara will be available before the next phase of minions, and Muradin nicely rotates down to this bottom lane to make sure they don't miss the soak of minions. They actually missed 0 minions worth of soak, if I'm not mistaken, and that is a huge win for the team. Looking at the other lanes, Karazim just seems to be pushing this out rather well. That's another benefit of Muradin being able to rotate. They're already winning their lane because it was 2v1 as a warrior versus warrior support. In the top, it looks like it's been rather even. Nothing has really happened on the towers whatsoever, and we see the night phase has begun. So Peck is working on the Shamblers, picking up some seeds, but realizes he's in the enemy's territory. So he managed to steal 1 or 2, but he does have to back away. A nice aggressive play, and now that Pelter Boy is in the front, a beautiful power slide going in, but he needs to be careful. He doesn't really have a support nearby, doesn't want to take too much damage. Tassadar is rotating up right now, and they might be able to find someone out of position. Tyrael Aldruin might, not quite in time for anything to come of it, and the roots connect on a few members. Now, the whole team is pretty weak right now. Let's just take a look at the situation. Look at the health pools. We see less than 50%, less than 50%. Illidan can self-heal, so that's kind of irrelevant, and Tyrael's taken a bit of damage. Their mana is relatively okay. They're attempting this boss under the nose of the red team, who they're tapping the well. He might have the well available. They're all pretty healthy. This seems risky, and they know Zagara's here. They can see Zagara on the minimap. So if the red team decides to collapse on them, it would be disastrous. And immediately we see they're taking a fair amount of damage, but nice rotations. Muradin winning all alone. Never want to do it like that. Muradin steps forward. Nice. Dwarf Tusk goes out. He throws out that Storm Bolt. Gonna try to trade with Vala. Vala's gonna trade out each other. 1 kill for each side right now. And we see the red team is capitalizing on this relatively well. Baneling's going forward. A lot of damage. Barely going to be able to get this Tyrael. No! Just survived with 40 hit points. And Pelter Boy is the one that ends up falling. How unfortunate. What should have been a much more convincing win from the red team ended up being them kind of going in one at a time. They trickled in. They didn't go in as a team. So we just saw the Muradin just kind of step forward, find the entire enemy team working on this Immortal, and now once again, they're just throwing 1 to 2 members in. In turn, Vala gets caught out of position, blown up very quickly. Now the Nazeebo needs to be peeled by Muradin. He's doing a good job rotating up to help him get away from Illidan, but Zagara was still fighting the Plant Terror. They're just, the decision-making for this team in general is very split. All over the place. Shees will end up falling to the Illidan and Tyrael, and now they're going to scoop up this Plant Terror ahead of them. Now, when it comes to these map objectives, fighting over something like a Plant Terror obviously has a big benefit. You destroy it, you get a lot of seeds, in theory. And looking at the seed count, it's 40 to 40. So winning the seeds right now is rather crucial. If you manage to win this Plant Terror, you put yourself in a situation where either you know your enemy team cannot get a Plant Terror no matter what during the first night phase, or actually, that's not true. They could steal at this point. Or you just put yourself in a much better spot to get the Plant Terror in this scenario. There's 60 seeds on a Plant Terror, obviously 40 and 41, so this guy still has a full 60 remaining. But still, you need to be very cautious when fighting over them. Don't send 1 to 2 members if you have no idea where the rest of the enemy team is. Stay as a group, or just safely soak the lanes, because experience is crucial. You'll notice the soak and the kills are somewhat in favor of the blue team. 5 kills to 1. They're sitting almost a level up. Once they hit level 7, their advantage is going to be even more defined. Well, the blue team, they do have full control here as Nazeebo had to hearth back to base. Vala isn't anywhere in sight, and that we're going to see 77 seeds collected. Still 60 available in this game, and now we see the Dwarf Toss being forced out from Murden. A nice Stormbolt to get away, but now the team has once again been separated. Looks like Murden going to go to the top, tap the well, then maybe just soak the lane. Now, the red team has a tough call to make. Do we try to defend the Plant Terror, or do we just go to our lanes and soak? The answer here is defend the Plant Terror, because once they get that Plant Terror, they already have the experience lead. If you let them get the Plant Terror, they're going to get level 7, and then they're going to steamroll forward with the Plant Terror and get level 10 first. At level 10, they're going to have another timing window, where that timing window is going to give them their heroics, and when it comes to team fights, it's going to be even harder to win the team fights. So the red team needs to group up as 5. They know this Plant Terror hasn't been started yet, and they need to contest it. Let's see what they do here. So blue team is a little split. Illidan all alone, and Tassadar on the left side. But Illidan is lurking in the back lane, waiting for an approach. Beautiful spot there. And once he sees Zagara by himself, he's going in for the play. Nazeebo has no interest in helping the team at all. Nazeebo has one thought in his mind. Kill these minions in the mid lane. Now Illidan, a bit too far forward, might be able to dash away. Beautifully done. Will end up surviving in this fight. Now that Nazeebo has fallen, it's a 4v5. Illidan backing up, tapping the well, getting back on into this thick of things. Nicely done by Peck, going through with the power slide, then knocking them away, doing a bit of damage. Illidan dives forward, just chipping once again. Nazeebo is back in the battle, but I don't know if it's going to matter in this situation because they're all so very low. And they haven't been able to start this Plant Terror whatsoever. But remember that timing window we talked about? Remember we said group up as 5 and try to deny the Plant Terror before the level 7 window hits? Well, they didn't succeed in doing so. They actually lost a team fight, and level 7's about to be here. So now contesting the Plant Terror becomes much more of a risk, and it's almost just cut your losses, and now the right call is to actually soak the lane. If they got a kill, maybe you can warrant sticking around, but really they should look to try to just even out the experience. Level 7 about to be hit. We see that Pelter Boy is getting very low. They kill ETC, but it's a 2-for-1 in their favor, so this is a nice play, but they stand in the root of the boss, taking ridiculous amounts of damage. Dwarf Toss forward, trying to find Tyrael, and oh no, this is just so very close. They managed to get away without losing too much. Zagara ends up going down, stepping too far forward, but that boss route was disastrous. Now we have Aerostorm trying to just keep some eyes on. Once again, out by himself. Always a risky thing to do. This time he gets away. The Aldruin's might enough for him to escape. That Hungering Arrow surely would have killed him, but now it's a beautiful power slide. Vala ends up falling. She tries to vault away, but to no avail. Zombie Wall is actually placed very nicely. This keeps Nazeebo safe in the back line, but now he can't get to his allies to help them out safely. Even if he tries to go in here to help them, he is now in a very exposed position. Vala comes around the backside. Pelter Boy getting away to safety because of Vala's location, which is a nice small win, but the team is very disorganized and very split. Hydralisk chasing Lonesome, but Illidan ETC, that is a furious combination of heroes that will just dive on you, lock you down, and do a lot of damage. But all things considered, the experience has evened out a fair amount, 7-8, and Red Team has had slightly better composure in the last minute or two. They need to just kind of get back as 5. Looks like they've tapped the well, but Pelter Boy will be sacrificed as they're constantly just disorganized in their play. So just a small tip to anyone playing Quick Match in general. Keep your eyes on the minimap as often as possible. Don't dive into a Plant Terror team fight if you know that your allies aren't there. And if you don't know where your allies are, you should ask yourself as often as possible, where is my team? Can we do this? Where is my team? Can we do this? Not, I want to do this. Where can we do this? Right? That is the question you need to ask yourself. And that's something that we're seeing not happen a whole lot here. Zagara has fallen once again. Looking at the kill counts, we actually see 5 deaths already on Zagara. So Zagara's already just kind of going on this quest of, you know, trying to just do as much damage as possible without thinking if she's in a scenario where she's capable of doing that. And the other criticism for the Zagara player in this situation is you need to be laying way more creep tumors. When's the last time we saw a creep tumor laid? Do we see any? I can't find any creep spread, guys. I'm looking. I'm trying. But I don't see a single creep tumor. That is Zagara's greatest strength, and you've already grabbed talents for it. You have the level 1 talent Reconstitution, so just 1 talent. You didn't go for the increased creep spread. Doesn't matter. They act as wards. They act as vision for your entire team, and they allow you to understand the rotations of your opponents far better than your opponents could ever hope to do. Tassadar has Oracle. Yes, he's good at cleaning up the creep tumors. They have a lot of responses to your creep spread. Immolation on Illidan. That's going to be great, as he just can walk over the creep tumors and kill them. We see that ETC can power slide over them. Tassadar can reveal them. It doesn't mean you stop laying them down, because you put them to cover your flanks. You put them to allow you to retreat a little bit better in times, because that creep highway, the movement speed that you get is, it can make, it's a small difference, but it can make, a big difference in the end. So you need to be very careful to make sure that you're often laying those creep tumors. I'm not saying make sure the cooldown is always off cooldown, because you might be spending a little bit too much mana if you can't afford it. But you definitely want to make sure to have some kind of presence on the map with those creep tumors. But as we look at things, we're going to see that first Plant Terror picked up. They've just now surpassed that 100 seeds. The Plant Terror ends up falling, so it's 134th, 136th, 7 for the team, and they will have the first Plant Terror of the game with a level advantage, looking for that level 10. As we predicted, they're sitting in a great spot where they have a timing window with a Plant Terror, which will evolve into a timing window with Heroics, and they can really look to just bring the pain on. So if you're the blue team in a situation where you have an advantage like this, Heroics on the horizon, a Plant Terror at your will, you really need to press it in every way possible. Now, how do you press that? Well, you want to make sure that you soak all 3 lanes as effectively as you can, because missing soaked experience is a big no-no in Heroes of the Storm. But you also want to make sure that you capitalize on any kill. So if you see someone out of position, you can rotate, go for the kill, and then get the additional effectiveness out of your Plant Terror. Now, they're not soaking the mid lane right now, so the Plant Terror making his way to the mid lane is great. These two can stay down here and get some great split push. We see the Heroic Advantage being used right now. Strafe used to pick up another kill on Zagara. All the while, Plant Terror in the mid lane, starting to wail away, forcing the hand of 3 opposing members. Top lane, getting some great split push on with Tyrael and Illidan versus the lone Nazeebo, and now the bottom lane is rotating up to mid. They're looking to try to pick someone off. Some low, very weak towers here. We see Heroics just now being picked up by the red team, and there's another Overgrowth being cast by the Plant Terror, trying to keep this pressure strong. Plant Terror putting his focus completely on eliminating structures, not really worried about trying to fight because of how much experience you get from structures alone. I like the call. Opposing Vala using Strafe, doing a lot of damage, and then stepping forward the multi-shot. It's good chip, and it's forcing them back, which is a nice win. Peck gonna throw down that last Overgrowth. The Terror will be able to breathe. The Plant Terror does end up expelling ETC out of it, and now we have a bottom lane being soaked by neither team. So sad. So sad. All these minions are lonely, just hoping and wishing they had friends. All 3 walls are down, though. Nice! Excellent! Well, Zagara is gonna rotate around. Still, oh, there we go. A creep tumor has been laid. Yes, sweet, glorious victory. 2 of them at that. Beautiful wards and vision here in the bottom lane. So Zagara is making this her nest, making it her home, feeling comfortable standing on the creep red, getting the nice gooey feel on her feet, saying, oh, it's so homey. And blue team has no concern for soaking anything but the mid lane right now. They want to put the pressure on. It looks like they want to put the pressure on and just take out a fort. But we see the ping happening. Ping on Zagara. Tyrael rotating down. Not going to want to reveal himself. He wants help. He pinged. He's like, team, come help me. Team has no interest in taking a free Zagara right now. They just want to push down this mid lane. In this 4v4 fight where they're being very successful in their quest, Illidan deep in there, but First Aid keeping himself alive. Peck power slides in, but the shields from Tassadar should be able to get him out. Tass is incredibly low himself, and Illidan dives back in with the multi-shot of Vala. They get the 1 kill onto Vala. They're looking for Gimli, the dwarf, or Giblin. Oh, but they get Nazeebo first. Gimli running away, Hungering Arrow opting to fade back to the fort, and he won't end up falling. They're just gonna get the fort down in this scenario. Now Tyrael has successfully defended the Zagara, but there's no way is gonna kill her by himself. Just starting to chip away at the minions. The mid fort did end up collapsing, and it is now going to be 12 to 14 in just a second. Come on. All right, I give up. There we go. Maw used on a single target. Where's the follow-up? Oh wait, there's no one. I gotta watch that again. I gotta see the reason behind this Maw. All right, Tyrael, he's stepping forward. He got hit by some banelings. All of Zagara's cooldowns have been used. Better mom. Apparently hitting B breaks my replay client. B brings us back 10 seconds. And now my replay client's broken again. Ugh. Anyways, sick maw, no follow-up. We see the seeds being picked up, 15 and 15 by each team here in the bottom section of the map. But Illidan, or ETC, and Tassadar are cleaning up the top section of the map. 58 seeds total collected for our red team, but do they get a kill? We're scrolling fiercely down to the bottom lane. The punches of Karazim are just barely not enough, but the stomp there of Gargantuan was successful in picking up a kill. The 5th kill here for our red team, putting some numbers on the board, approaching those level 13 talents, and now they're starting to work on this bottom lane immortal. With that kill, Vala by her lonesome cannot do this. This will be a plant terror picked up for the red team. They made the right call. They got a single kill, and they just immediately go for the objective. Some teams would think, oh, well, we could push here. No, get yourself a plant terror. It's far more valuable because then you're going to be on even footing for this next plant terror phase. Both teams will have one. Top lane just about cleaned up. Yep, there we go. See all those seeds being picked up. And they have an excess of 42 versus 16. So slightly more than 100 seeds extra on the blue side so far this game. But all things considered, it's really the experience, you know, that's telling the story. A 2-level advantage still at their power, and they can look to use this plant terror to take out the top fort. It looks like Aerostorm will be driving this time, and he's going to make his way to try to take out a fort. If they take out a fort, it's going to put them alarmingly close to level 16, which is a nice window to try to take a big team fight over your opponents. Plant terrors will clash Rock'em Sock'em Robot style and start smacking things as hard as they can. Now, this is a great response by the red team. They throw 2 members in to try to poke away at this the best they can. But Peck is here with the peel, and now Vala is actually in a tight spot. She vaults out of the Queen's Curse, but she takes too much damage after the power slide. Peck with perfect positioning. He gets a beautiful pick off there. Again, we see the Overgrowth and Queen's Curse being thrown out, and they're working on these back towers. One of these will grant them level 16, and there it is, talent tier advantage for the red team. All the while, the red plant terror throwing down the Queen's Curse itself, but being immediately forced away by Tassadar channeling his laser beams with, oh, now they're little squiggly plants. ETC was the other dude. Yeah, there they go. They're back in their human form. Oh, the zoning maw this time was actually quite clutch, catching ETC mid-power slide. A nice play, but Blue Plant Terror hasn't been peeled quite as effectively. It's done a lot of damage to these back towers. Already took out the 2 middle towers, almost took out that 1 top tower, while this red one has just been running through the center of the map. Now, it's taken way less damage and still has 20 seconds left to do, but it's just basically team fighting and throwing down Overgrowth as, you know, as rarely as it can. So the response on either side, I would say, was a win for the blue team as they took almost no damage, and now they Judgment and Power Slide on the plant terror, trying to blow it up. Saltruan's might in the wrong direction, predicting it might go that way. A little excessive to try to kill it, but Muradin will be a-okay in his escape after doing not a whole lot of damage. He did some, but in comparison, the experience was in favor of our blue team during this night phase. Okay, ETC. It's just kind of backing away. Spiders creeping around, being creepy and cute. Oh, it's so sad when they die. Oh, what a nice dwarf toss. ETC catching 2 targets in the back, and they're just being womboed down. There goes Vala. Vala in the backside has to vault away as Gimli is chasing on in. The power slide to peel, and the Archon with the feels doing some nice damage into their backside. But the Gargantuan really isn't panning out that well. He's gotten the 1 kill. I haven't really felt the impact of him, though. He's just kind of some big, goofy dude that needs a new outfit. He's got a weird thing in his hand there. I look like he picked up a minion. But, you know, it doesn't matter. Red team, they're regaining some composure. They traded out. They have their level 16 talents, and it's not over yet. Now, Circle of Life has been picked up for Karazim. That means the team just got way more tanky. That's a lot more sustained. If they're ever stacked up, it's going to be nice, but they need to be careful when they stack up due to the fact that ETC can mosh pit them. Tassadar, on the other hand, went for a full shield build. This is full-on shields with Archon, which is, that's new. I don't know if I've ever seen that. I might have to dissect that build another time. All right, ETC dives forward, hitting 4 targets of power. So the Judgment is going to eliminate Nazeebo, but the Divine Palm is absolutely beautiful there. The Maw connecting on no one. Gimli going to go down. She's ends up falling in. Fronjo is next on the menu. 4 and 5-man kill. Illa, don't go home, boys, because he just shredded your whole team. Illidan will then come down here to collect these beautiful seeds. Well done, says Tyrael in his best angelic voice. That keep is very low. The fort, excuse me, a lot of seeds being picked up, and another plant terror is imminent for the blue team. But I must be critical. If you have 5 members down, in a situation like this, there might be seeds available, and you could say, let's go get all the seeds. But those seeds aren't going anywhere. You have an exposed keep. The team was actually all in this middle lane, and this middle keep is just about as exposed as it gets. The wall is low. The tower is already down. They could have actually, they have a 20+ second window. They would have had about 25 to 30 seconds at the time after that team fight where they could have marched over here. Now, Tassadar has got everyone has plenty of mana and health at this point in time. So to march in, to take out the mid keep and then back up and just safely do the top half of seeds, and then you can look for a team fight at the bottom half of seeds, like you're already winning the fights. You already have an experience advantage. Don't get greedy and split up and do the seeds. Get greedy and take out a keep because that's permanent damage, permanent catapults. Really could have been taken advantage of a little bit better in this scenario. But the seeds it's not a bad play. It's just not the optimal play to make for the blue team. Always look to press your advantage as much as humanly possible. All right, well, this Garden Terror will end up falling rather quickly. Illidan is soloing the bottom one. They have a Plant Terror growing for them in the left side of the game, ready in 4 seconds, and they will have a monopoly over the seeds, which again isn't a bad thing, but we'll see what they're able to do with it. So far, their team fights have looked rather good. Throwing massive AoE silences into the mix will probably make them look even better. Nice stomp there by the Plant Terror, getting 2 targets at once. Excellent play by the AI, and the red team is making their way in. Illidan with a Metamorphosis and the dance onto 3 targets. Peck the Mage with the plays. Diving on in, even though he's not playing a mage right now, that's just his name on Twitch, and a lot of damage going off. We see Pelter Boy with Divine Palm on himself. Good reaction, but they are down in a bad spot. 2 members have already fallen. Oh, Eldruin's Might and the Smite to get the kill. And Illidan is just back to his game of, I'm going to fight this Plant Terror, and he's only going to stop me every single time. So far, Beatboxer is getting beat by the Plant Terror. He'll ultimately win in the end, but he shouldn't get stomped. Did he get stomped? Oh, he dodged it. The masterful plays. All right, we see M Control in the backside, just chipping away with all the damage in the world, and the seeds have been picked up. Now, they have a Plant Terror with a Plant Terror in pocket. Back-to-back Plant Terrorception, boys. 108 scenes on the deck. So you can't have 2 at once, but once this Plant Terror does end up expiring, there will be a small window, and then the next Plant Terror will grow, and you can just march again with it. And it's really hard to not fall really far behind, especially when you're already down 3 levels and you just lost Zagara in the bottom lane. Oh, I hate not being able to click the map. There she is, dead. Let's go back up. So, final forts have been taken out just about. Top fort, pretty low, pretty low. They can finish that. Illidan and Tassadar and Tyrael making their way up there. And Peck is marching in alone with his Plant Terror. Now, I would prefer that the team escorted him. They're up a hero, and as much as like these team fights are nice across the map, they probably should just push their advantage with the Plant Terror. Now, if they get a few kills, that's good and great. But playing as a team in these situations can really just secure a victory. You've got back-to-back Plant Terrors. If you guarantee that you can destroy 1 to 2 keeps, you can pretty much indefinitely end the game. So Peck is just kind of backing away. He's going to come up here. He's going to throw down his plant spells. Nice. And then there's another really beautiful Metamorphosis in this game. Now that ball is strafing well into enemy lines, taking a lot of damage in the process. Illidan looking to go in. No, it's Vala that's going to go in with a reverse strafe, getting the kill. Plant Terror has expired, but it doesn't matter because, oh, the first excellent Maw all game long, hitting 4 members, just stalling out the game's victory because the blue team will end it all here with that Plant Terror in deck, not even needed. GG! Oh, nice. The style mosh pit. Nice. Well, that was our first ever episode of Daily Quest where we did an Educast. And all the feedback is just intended to help you guys with decision making in various scenarios. It's a very different type of show because we're going to take games from all levels of MMR and take a look at them and really just kind of examine, like, you know, what are we seeing? What could be done differently? What's good? What's bad? Type stuff. And overall, I think it's going to educate me a lot too as to, like, how can I interact with my allies in Quick Match a little bit better? Like, what am I seeing in these games about, like, tendencies? Because it's a lot easier to analyze a match when you have vision of every single player in the game. So it's a cool experiment, and I think we'll do this once a week moving forward. With that being said, you can submit replays for future Educasts at solidjakegg@gmail.com. I should like to do some fancy graphic for this, but for now, I'm literally going to type it on the screen. Oh, here we go. All right, that font is way too big. Yes. All right. solidjakegg@gmail.com. Send me replays. Now, if you're playing Hero League games, which I would say is generally preferred for Educast, I will take preference over Hero League games. If you could let me know the draft order in the replay, and if you're feeling frisky and you want to send me your Hot Logs profile link so I can get an idea of, like, what you like to do to gear the episode a little bit more towards your style, I can do that. I can do that, right? Nice, nice. With that being said, please do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button here on YouTube. Hit the follow button on Twitch. And thank you all so much for watching. I'll be streaming in just a few moments, so I'll see you then. Peace.